If the election on Friday is to mean anything to the Irish people, it must deliver for us a stable, solid government prepared to implement the type of tough decisions that need to be implemented to return us to growth. I'm afraid I'm old enough to have lived through the recession of the 70s and 80s. As a 20-year-old in 1980, I listened to people say that all the best young people were leaving the country, and indeed many fine young people did. But that recession was different to this one. Personal debt was almost non-existent. Our standard of living at the time was much lower than it is now. And indeed our levels of education were not what they are today. Some would have you believe that the benefits of the Celtic Tiger have all been lost, washed away by the seas of recession. But you and I know that that is not true. The investment in education, the investment in infrastructure, the investment in our public services across the country all stand as evidence to the fact that that money was wisely invested during that period. That is not to say, however, that the government did not make mistakes. And I apologise for the fact that the government was not far more prudent than it was in the years of the Celtic Tiger. It is a fact that social partnership went too far and that in this country we lost our competitive edge. Having a healthy construction sector is important to every economy. It was important to us here in County Kildare when almost 10,000 people were employed in that sector. But we must never again allow any sector within the Irish economy to assume such a dominant position. And we must never allow groups like the banks to exploit their position of power. I have supported decisions that have been tough and unpopular. I've supported them knowingly as a Fianna Fáil backbencher and in the strong and personal belief that the implementation of those policies would bring this country back to prosperity and would lead us out of the recession that we're all experiencing at present. Isn't it interesting that we have a renewed focus now on the indigenous industries in this country of agriculture and tourism, for example? It's certainly in these areas that we need to invest heavily in the future to generate local employment. As a father of 4 young children, that I particularly appreciate the need to invest in primary education, because it's the investment that we make in primary education that will determine the type of society that we'll have in the future and indeed the type of economy that we'll be able to develop here. That's why I'm particularly proud of the effort that I have put into a number of vital school projects across this county. Effort of convincing ministers and convincing the Department of Education to invest in critical infrastructural projects. But I'm particularly proud of the development in Kildare of a new post-primary school which will bring together 3 traditional providers to create a 1,000 pupil community school. And in Athy, where during my period as chairman of County Kildare VEC, we purchased the site on which now stands the first ever education campus for South County Kildare. I have to say that it was a particular privilege to have been elected at the head of the poll in the general election in 2007. I'm deeply grateful to the people of Kildare for the trust that they have placed in me, and I hope in turn that I have never betrayed that trust. I hope that you'll acknowledge that over the years since 2007, and indeed in the years before that I have worked in a determined, tenacious and honourable fashion to represent you and the people of Kildare and to deliver for the country and for the people of Kildare the best quality representation that can be provided. And that's why today I'm asking you for your support in the general election. And if you support me, I can say to you that my ambition is to continue the work that I've been doing, looking out for Ireland's interest and looking after the interests of the people of County Kildare who gave me this opportunity.